The defense of the Reich, 1945, refers to the final stage of Nazi Germany's attempts to defend its territory against the advancing Allies during the last year of World War II. By 1945, Germany was fighting on two collapsing fronts: the Western Allies advancing from France and the Low Countries, and the Soviet Red Army pushing in from the east. 1. Strategic situation, early 1945. Germany was already devastated by Allied strategic bombing campaigns, the Defense of the Reich air war that began in 1943. By 1945, cities like Dresden, Berlin, Hamburg, and Cologne were in ruins. The Luftwaffe, German Air Force, was nearly destroyed. Shortages of fuel, trained pilots, and aircraft meant it could no longer challenge Allied air supremacy. On the ground, the Wehrmacht faced overwhelming Allied manpower, tanks, artillery, and air power. 2. Eastern Front, Soviet advance, Vistula-Oder offensive, January-February 1945. The Red Army broke through German defenses in Poland, advancing to the Oder River, just 70 kilometers from Berlin. East Prussia and Silesia, encirclement and destruction of German forces, hundreds of thousands of civilians fled westward. Battle of Königsberg and Danzig, March-April 1945. Soviets captured East Prussia and Pomerania. Battle of Berlin, April-May 1945. Final Soviet assault on the German capital. Hitler committed suicide on the 30th of April 1945. 3. Western Front, Allied advance. Ardennes offensive, Battle of the Bulge, December 1944 to January 1945, 1945. Germany's last major offensive failed, leaving the West wide open. Operation Veritable and Grenade, February 1945. Allies cleared the Rhineland. Crossing of the Rhine, March 1945. U.S. and British forces broke into Western Germany. Ruhr Pocket, April 1945. 300,000 German troops surrendered. Western Allies enter central Germany. By late April, U.S. and Soviet troops linked up at Torgau on the Elbe River. 4. Collapse of the Luftwaffe. By 1945, the Luftwaffe could only mount small-scale jet fighter, Me-262 sorties, but lacked fuel and trained pilots. The defense of the Reich air war effectively ended. Allied bombers roamed Germany with little resistance. 5. Final battles and surrender. Berlin fell on the 2nd of May 1945 after brutal house-to-house fighting. Admiral Dönitz, Hitler's successor, attempted to negotiate partial surrender to the west, but failed. Unconditional surrender, 7th of May 1945, Reims, signed to Western Allies. 8 to 9 May 1945, Berlin, signed to the Soviet Union, VE Day. 6. Key facts. German forces in 1945. Approximately 7 million men, but poorly supplied, understrength, and often teenage conscripts, or old men, Volkssturm. Civilian casualties were massive due to air raids, ground battles, and mass refugee movements. The defense of the Reich in 1945 was essentially a desperate holding action until final collapse. In short, by 1945, the defense of the Reich was no longer a coordinated military campaign, but a chaotic struggle for survival, ending with the fall of Berlin and Germany's unconditional surrender in May 1945.